And we are live. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Nikki Anthony, and I am so excited for tonight. We have a very special presentation for everyone. This is our virtual Black History celebration. Let us not forget. And it's so key, especially during this month and the time, the political climate we're in, all the things that are going on right now, that we just take the time and really honor and celebrate the achievements, the resilience, the strength, the passion, the contributions of people from the Black diaspora, right? So I'm excited for tonight. I have two wonderful guests. I consider them family at this point. I've known them for a really long time, and they have some special gifts that I'm excited to share with you all. And yeah, you'll be hearing from them shortly. You'll hear a lot less of me and more of them. Before we get to that, I would like to share our mission statement here at Little Hands Big Hearts. The mission statement is for us to develop little people into servant leaders, and not so little people because we focus on the family, into servant leaders who think beyond themselves for the greater good through explicit and intentional opportunities for character development, selfless service to others, and community-based volunteering. And I really do feel that our history as Black people really contributes to the mission that we have, that service to others outside of ourselves, volunteering, all kinds of things that our contributions have lent themselves to in helping to develop this nation and this world. So I'm excited again for tonight. So I'll introduce briefly, and then they're going to take it from there. Walter and Charmaine Jennings, they are a husband-wife duo that I absolutely love. I respect them, I honor them, and love their giftings. So you're going to hear some spoken words, some poetry. If there's a difference in the wording, y'all give me the definition if I'm missing it, okay? But I want to introduce you all to Walter and Charmaine Jennings. I've known them, like I said, for a really long time. I had the opportunity to meet their oldest daughter. She wasn't one of my students, but she was in a class that I had students in kindergarten. And so I watched her grow up, and she's a beautiful young lady. She's doing remarkable things. Her parents are remarkable. She has a younger sister who's doing awesome as well. So I would like to introduce you all to Walter and Charmaine Jennings, and they're going to be our guests for tonight. All right.
I am called early in the morning or late at night like a 911 operator responding to an emergency, listening, getting clarity, problem solving, trusting.
My ears adjusting to the frequency of a wounded heart, beating in Morse code only my soul can decipher. The message and lesson stings and sings melodies in the tune of lost and found. I am challenged
to rely on faith, not fear. Reminding myself that you invited me here to audit my perception against your God reality. So why do I still feel so unworthy?
My eyes wide open to see what you have freely given. An intentional decision, promoting, stretching, and enlarging my reach, crushing my ego, strengthening what is weak, accepting that these poems are your stories. You are the superstar who deserves all the glory. I am changed.
In a heartbeat, transformed by the words of my testimony. Eyes have not seen nor ears have heard your smart goals, so that heaven can vacation down here on earth deep within my soul. I mean, you are the most expensive real estate, a blood sacrifice investment, and we are the children of tomorrow, your New Testament.
Coin stacked high to make sense of my insides, standing up while standing out, molding and shaping me, complete and whole, yet empty. I am an uneven equation.
Multiply 3 times equals the sum of sometimes. You know, I have to remind my mirror's reflection that unlike you, I did not volunteer or die.
Initially, you were not my choice. Yet you didn't take away my free will by force. You want me to choose you, just like you chose me. Your blood sacrifice produces the air in my lungs so that I can breathe in this relationship called love.
Without limits.
Agape.
Unconditional.
And committed. You are perfect.
And I am undeserving, yet no exception.
To the privileges of your precious gift of love. That's why I am called, challenged, and changed willingly. Greetings, everyone. Thank you all so much for having us. Again, my name is Walter Wally B. Jennings.
My name is Charmaine C. Jennings.
And we are the founders of Chosen Life Specialists, where we have been called to challenge and change relationship culture. Yeah, we are so excited to be a part of Little Hands, Big Hearts and the Black History Month celebration. And so thank you again, Dr. Anthony, for the privilege and the opportunity to not just be a part of this program, but to also partner with you in the great work that you are doing in reinforcing the importance of philanthropy. And a lot of people confuse philanthropy with just treasure. And what we believe is that philanthropy includes time and talent as well, which means that we're always in a position to give back. And so we really have to develop a heart of philanthropy. And I believe the Little Hands, Big Hearts absolutely does that with our children, right? And that's a really important lesson. Rather than focusing so much on getting, the emphasis is really on giving. And so thank you again, Dr. Anthony, for your great work in that. So for us, again, we are the founders of Chosen Life Specialists, which is a arts infused coaching and counseling service. We focus on individuals and also couples as well.
Absolutely. And we love working with individuals and couples. And the goal is to help people to master the relationship with themselves and all of their relationships with other people. And I love that in the title, Little Hands, Big Hearts. In the word heart, there's art. So yes, we are right on brand.
Yeah, and so some of you may be asking, like, what does this have to do with Black history? It has everything. It has everything to do with Black history, because in our communities, these types of conversations, and especially for those of you who may subscribe to Christianity and the church, these conversations are not happening. When we talk about mental health and wellness, when we talk about those individual developments, those are conversations that are oftentimes admitted. All you need is Jesus. All you need is prayer. Sometimes, the Lord works through us in order for us to make sure that we're growing in our process. And so, we are really big proponents of counseling, of coaching, of making sure that you've got mentorship and those individuals that have been assigned to really assist you in your life path and purpose. And even if you're doing well, maybe you have been assigned to partner with someone in their life path and purpose. And so for us as individuals who are children of that philosophy, we have been married as of next month. It will be 25 years. Yay. And so long time, right? But for us, we did not get premarital counseling. And so, and it was something and we absolutely should have. It was something that almost devastated our relationship because we did not know one another and we did not know ourselves. So it's important to have a formal process in place. And so we went back to our foundation, which is spirituality, but also art as well. And so art is something that is an important part of what has drawn and kept us together.
Absolutely. And, and that's one thing to get premarital counseling. What we love to do is to really help couples know that your relationship is not going to look like anyone else's. You are unique. You are a unique individual. And so we do a lot of supporting the uniqueness of each individual in their relationship and really helping them to understand what that collective work looks like and helping them do the work. And so it's a really powerful process, but it's the same thing. Like when you were in a relationship with ourselves and had we gotten a lot of help or support in knowing how to really usher ourselves into that, not going into any of our outer relationships expecting to learn through them or gaining more from others than ourselves, but knowing that, wow, you take you in every relationship. So don't have higher expectations for other folk than you do for yourself, and so making sure that you are the first learner of the lessons that that you would like to receive and pour out to other people.
Yeah. And as we dug into this work, what we found is that there are really two kind of arenas when we talk about counseling that are really important to focus on. Most of the time when we work with couples, it's always a situation of you need to fix them. And so for us, what we found is that there is an MMI that needs to happen, which is that me, myself, and I. So that is that individual, because in every couple, there are two people. And so, right, this is not just a collective work, which again, that we work is really important, but that individual work is really, really vital as well. And so for the both of us, what we found is that, again, art was an important part of that. And so for me, I was, a lot of people would not believe this, but I grew up an introvert. I grew up in a household with a bunch of extroverted energy. And so I really kind of recoiled within myself and kept a lot of my thoughts, emotions, feelings within me. And so poetry was the way that I found voice in expressing myself. And so for me, my first time actually performing was my senior year at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
Damn you.
During homecoming, got a chance to share a poem, and it was one of the most powerful experiences in my life. And it affirmed in me the importance of the voice that God had given me. And one of the first things that I thought of when I came off the stage was, wow, what would my life have been like if I had embraced my voice early on? What bad habits could I have avoided? What bad decisions would I not have made if because I was so busy trying to fit in and trying to really amalgamate to what I thought life was requiring of me, rather than honoring who God created me to be. And so the journey from there, that moment in October of 1998, has been absolutely just amazing and mind-blowing. Being able to start 2 poetry venues, one for adults called Black on Black Rhyme here in Tampa, starting one for young people called Heard 'Em Say Youth Arts Collective, traveling around the nation doing poetry and spoken word, and also helping other people find their voice, has been absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely. I mean, my background is in education, career-wise, but for me, poetry, it really started at my earlier teen years. So kind of with my tween years, so that 11, 12, where you really start hitting those emotional roller coaster years. And so hit moments where I really, an introvert as well. I call myself an emotional introvert. So I process my emotions on the inside. And the problem is when you don't have an outlet, you don't have that gift that you were given by God to help detox those negative emotions, and you hold them, it can really cause that depression. It can cause you to feel the weight of everything in the world happening, and you want to fix it, but you can't. And so for me, poetry writing became that avenue in which I did that. Being in a marching band, playing an instrument, those things help. But poetry was really helpful to get the words out, to put a sound, and to give myself voice to those emotional emotions in a safe space. And then, that ventured off to became an educator out after college, and really just helping my scholars through the arts express themselves. World language teachers, so we, art was a huge part of my program with my scholars, visual arts, dancing, modeling, coaching step teams. So it really gave me life to give youth those same areas of fulfillment and expression through the arts.
Yeah, so chosen
like ask one question really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
As parents, how would you encourage parents to help their child find their voice, whatever that is, their method of expression of, coming out, especially in those tween years, because we have a lot of people, looking at our children, they take things, they don't know how to communicate what they're going through, they shut down. And then we're looking at things like, teen suicide. We're looking at things like bullying. We're looking at, things like, kids dropping out of school because the pressure is too much. I just don't want to go here and feel like I'm hated. So how would you encourage parents to help their children find their voice, whatever that is? It may not be the arts, it may be sports, whatever it is. How would you encourage?
You know what? We actually hit a moment with I know as a mom, I hit that moment with our oldest daughter where I'm like, I really don't know my daughter. Like, because sometimes you forget that your child is only part you, part being, they only take a certain percentage from you. And so sometimes we kind of default, and that our children are going to process those heavy emotions the way that we process them. And no, they have their own fingerprint. So their barcode is very different from yours. They got the DNA, but the barcode is different. So you have to go to the source. You have to really start listening, really listening with your ears and empathetic ears. Watch your child. So for the parents who their children maybe you don't know what their areas of art is or movement, watch their being. We're not humans doing, we're humans being. So if you have a very energetic child and they like to move, their superpower is in movement. So get them, involved in anything that gets their bodies moving. They are communicating. 70% of their communication is nonverbal. But you know what? We waiting for them to say something,
Mhm.
and we watching for what they do. We have to start paying attention. And so use sports, use dance, use movement. If movement is really how they're flowing. If it's voice and it's words, then focus on areas with to give them words. If maybe they're a little bit more reserved, there's other things that they can do to really get those emotions out. It could be visual art. It could be maybe your child is more abstract. So really, that's why we do a lot of work on mastering the me, myself, and I, and get support. We're here to support. There's other resources to help support, but I'll pass it to you
Yeah, I
to
was gonna
add to
say
that.
too, and we want to be clear that when we say voice, we use that as a catch-all for expression. And
Absolutely.
so, a lot of parents will try to assign their child their voice. When again, with Charmaine, it's not just listening with your ears, but it's also listening with your eyes,
Absolutely.
as far as with what are they communicating that they're into. And then going back to the cultural piece, being prepared and open if they're expressing an interest in something that may not necessarily be something that you're used to. Maybe you're going to have to educate yourself on an interest that they have. Maybe nobody in your family or in your immediate family has expressed an interest in that. Maybe because of the community and the background that you grew up with, they may have to be around some people that may not look like them in order to be exposed to that, and not being afraid of that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very important that we pay attention to our children and heed to the things that they are showing us that they are interested in, rather than trying to put an interest on them to really try to shape their voice.
Yeah, listen.
But allow them to lead that process out.
That is so good. So it's okay for them not to be a spitting image of you in every single way, right?
Absolutely.
It takes
Absolutely, yeah.
nothing away from your parenting skills, right?
I mean, I think about the age and time that we live in now, right? I see things like black violin. You see people like Misty Copeland, and those things are normalized now. But when you look back 20 years ago, you being a little black girl in ballet, you being a black boy saying you wanted to be a play the violin,
Absolutely.
those things were social suicide. And people, out of love and concern for you, would steer you away from
Away
those
from them.
things.
That's
And
right.
that's exactly what we're talking about, is not being afraid to allow our children to express themselves in the things that they truly find interest in, just because it may not be a part of your or their cultural norm.
I'm listening. That was so good. Thank y'all.
Yeah. So again, for us, with our experience with art, it undergirds everything that we do. And so Chosen Life is no different. So the organization again is focused on counseling and coaching, and it's focused on the individual and the collective work. Is theory based and research based and practical application,
Absolutely.
but it all is woven together through artful expression. Is really what we purpose to do. But we know that you all are here to hear some poetry, and as we celebrate Black History Month, and so we just want to share a couple of our poems with you all. Hopefully you all enjoyed the initial poem that we opened up with. And so yeah, I want to turn it over to you to share a little bit. And so yeah, we just want to honor, we know that especially Black history, not just from a national standpoint, but from an international standpoint, we have a rich culture and history of influence, innovation, creation, and those things are to be celebrated. Especially in the time and culture that we're in right now, we got to celebrate ourselves.
That's
You got to
right.
clap for yourself. And as Dr. Anthony mentioned before we got started, a lot of these things are being taken away. So we really have to normalize these conversations. And so part of our time tonight is going to be spent on talking about some of the contributions that we've made as far as Black people in and around the world.
All right. So with that, I want to offer you all this a poem, and yeah, and it's really in honor of Black History Month, but really just as honor in honor of us every day, and it's called Appreciate. The questions why me, why now, why this only complicates. Instead, we should focus on how to fully appreciate, to learn beyond the basics, to self reflect after every important message, to accept problems as masterclass teachers, to see hardships and lessons that can prevent future sequels? Do we truly appreciate our gifts? Are we committed to seeing possibilities? Will we express love out loud, live by the spirit, not current reality? For if we appreciate, then why do we contemplate? Why do we hesitate to regulate showing our Creator love? We tie hands behind backs, refusing to look up above, only to appreciate health when sickness shows up. Why do we appreciate children after they're all grown up? We appreciate love when we're met with hate. We appreciate sunshine when there's torrential rain. We appreciate the cold weather when it's scorching hot. We appreciate friendly support when we're all alone and distraught. We only appreciate life when we are met with death. We truly appreciate avoiding a car accident or a loved one's last breath. We appreciate nosy neighbors who report someone breaking our house. We appreciate snitches when victims are too scared to talk or too embarrassed that someone will find out. We appreciate face to face encounters when saturated with social media, texting, and cell phones. We appreciated our old school parents when we become parents of our own. We appreciate our past teachers when we become community leaders ourselves. We seek acknowledgement, affirmation, appreciation for emotional healing that compels. We appreciate a friendly face when we are nervous and scared. We appreciate spirituality when things are beyond human repair. Through every season, we must learn to appreciate without condition or reason. We must seize every moment and live love out loud. Accepting our calling will move from the front to the back of the crowd. We must speak gratitude fearlessly with our sisters and brothers. We must drift and wonder blindly in order to find greatness in others. So if you see someone and not see hope, look again. If you see someone and not see love, look again. Look again, appreciate again. Peace.
Hey, all right, all right. So, in appreciation of us, this is probably one of my oldest poems. This is one of the first poems I ever memorized. Shout out to Keith Keyboard Rogers, founder of Black on Black Rhyme. He's the one that actually challenged me to memorize my poems way back in the early 2000s, probably 2000 itself. I used to actually get up on stage with a huge. For those of you who remember, you used to go to your grandma and them house, and they had the big Bible in the living room that nobody could touch. Like, that usually, somebody got suspended from school or something bad happens when that Bible got cracked open. Like, that was what my poetry notebook used to look like. And so but Keith challenged me to memorize my poems. And so this is one of the first poems that I ever memorized. And it's called What is Black? What is black? Black is me, black is you. Black is manifested in everything that we do. Black is the slave ship load, the long, hard road we travel barefoot so that truths would unfold. Black is the cry of black babies separated from their mothers, legions of brother and sister that have never met one another. What is black? Black is me, black is you. Black is manifested in everything that we do. Black is the love that has endured and matured, is tried and tested and still stands majestic. From slave times to picket lines, two lovers of one mind, black couples have survived by standing side by side. What is black? Afrocentric rhythmic harmonies we brought with us from black colonies, which gave birth to rock and roll and jazz. And if we didn't create it, we gave it pizzazz with the swing of the hips and luscious full lips. My beautiful black sisters took over movie scripts. The true essence of motherhood and blackness. Show others the real meaning of what it meant to be an actress. What is black? Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, Pam Grier, Jasmine Guy, Sarah Vaughan, Catherine Dunham, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin. Watch my list swell with Jada, Tina, Whoopi, Oprah. They come in all shades, dark, light, even mocha. What is black? Black is me, black is you. Black is manifested in everything that we do, to the way we make a statement, to our meetings and basements. Who else could bring life to such a color so basic? What a colorful race. What a wonderful taste I get when I kiss the cheek of a black face, or the pride that I feel when I hear the voice of Malcolm. See a picture of Martin, I know that I can climb the highest mountain. In you, I see myself as Black is manifested. I give thanks and praise to God for the power that is invested in me to overcome any and all obstacles. And after a brief study of my history, there is nothing deemed impossible. What is Black? Black is me, Black is you. Black is manifesting in everything that we do, how we communicate, how we relate. They criticize Ebonics because what they don't know, they hate. Yeah, we change our slang, rearrange the game. And for years, they tried to stop what they could only contain. They disregarded our loyalty, trashed our poetry, labeled us slaves, but our roots scream royalty. Inside of each drug fiend is a former queen and king hidden beneath desires of materialistic things. And I am what is Black. I am a composition of chemicals that have all blended well that should be classified as a miracle of my father's diligence, my mother's spirit, my brother's humor, and my sister's appearance. I'm Shaka Zulu's audacity. Booker T's charisma. How I gained Thurgood's confidence still remains an enigma. I'm Tony Dungy's patience, Dusty Baker's stare. Representatives of my traits are displayed everywhere in magazines, radio, books, TV. What Hollywood has adapted was stolen from our streets. So what exactly is Black? Black is me. Black is you. Black describes the events that our people have gone through, and many have emerged as the leaders of the pack, but there are many, many other colors. But the root of all is Black.
Yes, yes. I'm Black too.
Me too.
I'm Tony Dungeon niece. No, I'm joking. Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome,
I love that
awesome.
poem. I love that poem.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So yeah. So when we talk about the history of especially just Black people, I love the point that's made that Black history extends beyond America. You know, when you look at, again, from a global standpoint, I think it's really important for us to begin to embrace the international impact and influence that we have. And what I've seen over the years since COVID, it was like, ever since Black people got a chance to go back outside again, we like, nah, we ain't content with just going to Atlanta and Miami. We going, now it's a whole world out there, and we trying to get out and see it. And I salute us for that.
We cruising.
Yeah, we going on cruise. I'm seeing people just pop up in places, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, for that person to be there, you know, it's something that, as far as life has really hit them, that, yeah, I got to get moving, and as we should. So I'm really proud of, you know, what we're doing on an international level. And I think that's important for us, building the resilience for some of the things that we go through domestically.
That's so good. And I love that when we are out in the world, we're not a monolith by far, but there's so many similarities that just exist from continental, you know, Africa, where we started, to the Caribbean, to South America, to North America. You know, there's so many commonalities that we share, even in our food, culturally, like y'all said, even in the arts, you know, so I love that also. So let me ask a question. Do you all have a favorite Black history figure, or even an event that sticks out in your mind that you think about, that you compare or you relate to our resilience?
Oh man, well, I have a figure who I have like been like, you know, I feel like stalking her story for the past few years, and actually gonna share a piece with you guys that I just finished writing, but where I kind of I mentioned her. But her name is Mary Walker, and it was she's considered the oldest student, and so about a woman who was, you know, obviously born into slavery, and she wasn't given the opportunity to learn how to read, didn't know her civil rights, couldn't read her Bible, and literally she was blessed to live to be about 120 years old.
Wow.
She didn't learn to read until she was 116.
Wow.
And so I love bringing her up because she had her first plane ride, all of these things. A lot of firsts happened for her in her 100s. And how often do we hear our community writes us, hey, I'm too old to change. I'm too old to do that. And she's like, you know, like, yeah, no, you know, if you haven't made up mind and you ask and you put that work in. She learned to read at 116.
So good.
You want to talk about resilience?
Right.
had her first plane ride. Some of our elders, you can't get them on the boat, let alone the plane. But she was like, I'm gonna get every good
Mm-hmm.
thing
Mm-hmm.
there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her story.
Mm-hmm.
Story.
Yeah, for me, it's, and I know it sounds very typical, but Dr. Martin Luther King, for
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different reasons, not just some of the things that people have grown to know and love him for, but also for his faults and flaws as
Mhm.
well. I
Mm-hmm.
think that a lot of people don't know he smoked, and so it's a lot of the things that really humanize him. And to be honest, when I started hearing about those things, it made me really appreciate him even more,
Mhm.
because often we paint our heroes in these grandiose hues of
Mhm.
perfection, when it's like, no, they had some challenges and they had some faults and they had some things that they actually had to go through that were bigger, that gave them the choice of, am I going to continue on and persist in this great work despite the challenges that I have?
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, I actually draw a lot of inspiration with some of the things that are challenges and mandates that I have in my life. And so, yeah, Dr. King is for me, from a spiritual standpoint, from a family standpoint, from being from the South,
Mhm.
and some of the decisions that he made with civil disobedience, with a lot, with him getting blamed,
Mhm.
for other people getting in trouble.
It's
And
true.
just again, a lot of people talk about leadership, and
Mhm.
there's a pain and a burden with leadership.
It's
Come
straight.
on.
It's not as glamorous, and it's not as great as people think it is. But because of what we perceive it to be, there's a whole nother side that we don't actually take into account. And I think he really kind of embodies that.
I mean, when I think about, Walter's here, Dr. Martin Luther King is definitely his person. But I think you were the one that shared with me that when he died, he literally died at the age of 39,
Mm-hmm.
but he had the heart of a 69-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
The stress. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Strengths, right? And so again, think about that. And these were during times where they didn't have counselors that they could go to, and they didn't know about no self-care. Like you said, they were surviving. They
Mm-hmm.
were surviving. They were really pushing to get civil rights. And so just thinking about that, right? Thinking about that. And even having our scholars think about that, our children in school, we can give them those facts. But when we're talking about, like, let's talk about what his stress might have looked like, not being able to go and traveling, but not being able to stay, in specific places, being
Mm-hmm.
afraid of your life, your security having to be on point. Those things impact the body, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so just things like that that our scholars don't, our children don't, they're not necessarily aware of the stress that
Yes.
it comes with that and all that he sacrificed truly.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. What is that? I think it's a quote that says, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown."
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that is
absolutely.
leadership. That's definitely leadership, that it gets weighty. So you have to
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
be built to be a leader, but
That's
it
right.
starts early on. So the leadership capacity begins in their youth, parents, when
Hmm.
you're giving them and delegating responsibility and all that. You don't just jump into it when you turn 20, 18, or whatever. You are groomed into leadership. I love that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
So
All right.
some
Yeah.
trivia.
No.
All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
do some more poetry.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. All right, and shout out, we got Regina on the line. I see her.
Yep.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
hello to you. All right, so this next piece we're gonna share. Actually, this is fresh off the press. Y'all let me know what you think about it. All right, if there's anything that speaks out to you, but sometimes poets, we can be real heavy on the emotional side, and so I have, he's laughing because I got a reputation for my poems kind of being heavy, and so I'm like, 2025, I'm gonna write some poems with joy, and he just looked at me like, serious, because you
Well,
are.
we'll see. We gonna see. We gonna see.
So this next poem is called Black Joy. Okay. All right. So Black Joy. All right. It's to love on y'all. So here it is. Guess what? It rained last night. Storm to be exact. If you split the curtains, your eyes witness the miracle of raindrops in black. Everything culturally soaked. Graffiti streets, sidewalk, kente cloth painted. Baobab trees, onyx cars, and homes refashioned and slated. Black rain washed away centuries of historical pain. Each drop resurrected African diaspora names, smothered us in sweet butter, bitter, and spicy chocolate. Rejected black as evil, depressing, or gothic. See, black history tastes so good when you have the proper recipe. It's the joy that comes in the morning while mourning yet excavating real history. Black joy is the divine continent, vital to everyone in the room. No matter your color, ethnicity, or hue, you've been black joy touched. Paintbrushed red, yellow, black, and green. The confluence of African flags, kings, and queens. It's a celebration. Golden skies, break dancing in every nation. It's the breaststroke of pink, purple, orange, hip hop rhythm, and blues vibrations. Black joy is Dr. King's civil rights dreams. It's little children holding hands in solidarity. It's Frederick Douglass's non-existent smile. It's not a movement, it's a freedom fighting lifestyle. It's Big Mama loving her family and praying, feeling the Holy Spirit in the shouts. It's her yelling, close the refrigerator door. You letting all the cold air out. It's Olympic gold medals, black power, leather gloves, clenched fists that resist nothing less than respect and love. Black joy is rejecting the admiration of my talents. It's refusing when colorblind people ignore my humanity. It's refusing to be hired as a submissive secondary. Yeah. It's sorority sisters opening their own credit unions and banks. It's HBCUs graduating and conferring degrees to top earners in high ranks. Black joy is the Mabira, kazoo, and banjo, black instrument inventions. It's muddy waters, trombone shorty, hypnotizing musical conditions. It's black bodies that flex and curve, showcasing multiple genres of dance. It's families staying together, offering grace and a second chance. It's hair love, 4C kinky, straight locks, wet and wavy. It's African trees of life that set us apart, featuring our hair as crowns, as rare works of art. Black joy is Mary Walker, the oldest student learning to read at 116. It's improving literacy with Black authors, illustrators, and stories. It's telling the truth and teaching real history. It's being unbothered by political sensitivity. By the way, Harriet Tubman doesn't want your apology. She demands that we never stop, we keep going. Look up to the sun, move your feet. You'll reap what you're sowing. She said, if you hear shouting and the dogs, if you see the torches in the woods, Black hope is still illegal. Alarm the neighborhood. Black joy is investing in what you value because you value your investments. Underground railroads were paved with billions of daily footsteps. So don't rest. Keep going. The world may condemn your skin. Freedom is growing and showing that battles are fought and won within. So walk in rooms. Show people who you are. You are the moon. So light the night and showcase the stars because dogs will always look up and bark. Angry people will shout. They'll hold torches in woods, put heads in hoods, hide faces in mouths, because Black love definitely offends hate. Black is truly professional. We innovate. You are one of us. If only one drop of DNA, nourish and flood generations. Put Black joy on replay. Celebrate. It's raining. Last night was a miracle of Black rain. The magic made curtains split. People ran towards it. Will you be touched by the storm? Culturally soaked by the graffiti streets, dance on kente cloth pavements, extend the block party for weeks because it rained. Black is raining, historically celebrating the privilege of joy.
So y'all heard it here first. This is the first time, right?
Right.
Hey, cut that. I love it. I love it. So let me ask this. What is your Black joy?
Oh, well, to be honest, the poem, I put so much in it, but I for to be honest, as a parent, seeing I guess just when seeing our daughters really embrace their being,
Mhm.
embracing their blackness, embracing their beauty, embracing the essence of their being inside and out. To me, that does bring me joy. Honoring their creator,
Mhm.
not worshiping creations, not being vain, not getting caught up in, some of the things that they see out here on social media, but just really enjoying and embracing that, man, my fingerprint barcode is unique. I am going to offer and appreciate the things that I've been given, but also sharing with other people, service to others. So my joy is really us being contagious as a generation and seeing our children living out loud what our elders and ancestors would appreciate.
That's so
Like, we
good.
need to love ourselves. We have to be the leader in loving ourselves.
Mhm.
Texture hair, every curve, every love handle, whatever you want to call it, like all of that,
Oh,
just really loving us and being the leader in it, not waiting for someone else
so
to
good.
love us first.
Yeah,
Mm-mm,
that's so
mm.
good. So good. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I was gonna say for me on the adult side, Black joy is all Black people in an all white party. Like
That's that sounds a
you hear
little.
like all these people throwing these white parties, and you go to one that's like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's not just about the attire; it's about the atmosphere and the spirit that it
Yes.
sets.
Yes.
And so there's just something. If you've never been to an all white party, like with a bunch of Black people, it just does something to you the first time you see it. On the youth side, yeah, it's something about seeing Black children in church on program as older folks, and
Doing the speeches.
doing the
It's a
speeches,
speech.
you know, those moments of Black joy, because I know those seeds being planted in them.
Yeah.
They have no idea what those are going to bloom and grow into, and how critical and important they are. So,
That's so good.
watching children play and laugh, and you know them
Like,
being able to bask in their innocence, is
yeah.
really, really, for
Like
me,
real
what it is.
outside play.
Real
Because new
outside,
school
yeah,
play is, it's
yeah,
digital.
yeah. Now I'm talking about
Hide and go
being
seek
outside.
outside.
Yeah, when you come inside and you
You
smell like
smell
outside.
like outside.
That's right. And you make sure you come in and close that door, because you don't
Yes.
want all the AC going outside. Stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah,
Yes. Before the street lights come on, you better be
That's
in.
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love
All
it.
right. So for my next poem, I'm actually not going to introduce my next poem. I'm going to ask Dr. Anthony to introduce my
Ooh,
next poem, because it
gladly.
is a special request from her. So, Dr. Anthony, if you would introduce the poem, tell the people why you want me to do it, and then we're going to roll right into it.
Okay. So I think I have a couple of reasons. The first one, I heard it years ago, and just to hear the passion with which he spoke about his baby girls. He is a girl dad, and I'm a daddy's girl, so I think it connected to me on that level. But just to hear um, just the love and the passion that he spoke about his daughters. And the poem is called God Gave Me Girls. And it was a request. I think every time I see him, I'm like, do the poem, do the poem, do the poem, sexual
You
chocolate.
sound like you be sounding a little Ike Turner-ish. You be sounding a little, sounding a little Ike
I
Turner-ish.
said, eat the cake. So I'm excited to have him present the poem God Gave Me Girls. And this is a dedication to all the girl dads, excuse me, that are out there. Learn to appreciate your baby girl. God might not have given you a son, and that's okay. You don't have to turn your daughter. I used to tell my dad, I'm not your son, I'm your daughter. You don't have to turn your daughter into your son. Appreciate the fact that God gave you that little girl that's going to grow up to be a powerful woman if you play your role right. So this is God Gave Me Girls by my cousin, Walter Jennings.
So this dude told me, Upon hearing the news that I'm about to have daughter number 2, he says to me that real men make men. And since I can't seem to pass on my Y chromosome, then I must not have what it takes to train one, let alone make one. Now, he says all of this while watching me tutor his son. Algebra, combining like terms. Learn the value of X and Y by isolating the variable to one side, and I can't lie. Secretly, it does hurt because a man's worth can often be tied to his ability to procreate males, regardless of whether or not he stays. And honestly, every man dreams of having a son one day, someone to carry on his last name and somehow make up for all the mistakes he made. But God gave me girls. And since I believe in destiny and not fate, I have the trust that God planned it this way. I'm just not always sure why. Maybe he wanted me to know what it was like to be on the opposite sides of all the games I used to play. I mean, I used to hear it a lot, but when did you ever think about a girl's father before you took her out? What it must have been like to be in his shoes and the fact that you could be him one day. Or maybe because the way the world is headed, God knew that I bring my daughters up to be strong women. Or maybe he just wanted me to be thankful for what I was given. Because how many times have you gotten exactly what you asked for and then regretted that you asked for it? How many times are you absolutely certain that if you got the exact person you wanted, you'd be happy? Only to realize you keep picking men that remind you of your daddy or women that remind you of your mother and the qualities you would like to see in them, in him, in her. The first relationship that we ever have with the person of the opposite sex is with our parents, regardless of whether they are present or absent. And since God gave me girls, I'm charged with setting a good example and to handle my business, regardless of what the situation is. See, that's what real men do. I aced algebra 2 because I always knew how to find the true value of X and Y. Isolate boys and girls to opposite sides, and you'll find that although their needs are different, their values are equivalent, congruent with the father's influence. And I use my patience to keep the equation balanced. So if you think it takes more talent to train your son, talk to me when your child runs up to you asking if they're matching because they were dressed by their mama. And when it comes to fashion, they don't really trust her, not like they trust their daddy. Get at me when you spend your Friday evenings greasing your child's hair with a jar of sulfur 8 and then spend 2 hours trying to get the part in the middle of her hair straight. Holla at me when you got to take your child to the restroom public, but girls can't touch nothing. So you got to hold her up over the toilet seat and pray to God that you do not get hit with pee. Tell me you know the theme song to Hannah Montana, Dora the Explorer, a High School Musical. And then and only you, then you can relate to what I'm going to. But until then, I will be waiting on your son on the front lawn with a shotgun, a bathrobe, church socks, and house slippers. Just so he remembers that anytime he takes out Charmaine or Simone, they ain't never really alone. So yeah, player, bring them back home the same way that they left. Because when God gives girls, he gives us the best.
Daddy's girl.
Yes, yes. If God gave you girls, consider it an honor because
No doubt.
girls do
Absolutely.
extraordinary things. I love it.
Yes.
Love,
Yeah.
love, love it. So we are.
So, Dr.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Dr. Anthony, thank you so much
Mhm.
for this opportunity. And so when we do Black History programs, right, like one of the things that we are really big proponents of is Black trivia. Now, it's not Black trivia in the traditional sense because normally when people do Black trivia, it's always related to like, you know, people that we hear about all the time or things that we hear about all the time. But we really try to centralize it on like local Black history. So we know that with little hands, big hearts, shout out to Duval. And so, you know, we want to always make sure that when we do Black history programs, that we focus on the local community, right? There's something I call everyday excellence, right? And tangible greatness. These are people and things that we see and can touch every day. Yes, Martin Luther King did some great things. Yes, we celebrate Harriet Tubman. Yes, we're grateful for the Sojourner Truce. But you know, what about some of the local heroes that have really led civil rights in our own communities? What about some of the individuals now, the modern day heroes that are doing great things to lead us forward? And so we put together a couple of Black history, some trivia for y'all. Now, what we're gonna ask y'all to do, because we know we live in a whole new day and age, put your phone down. Like this is not about getting the answer right. This is about learning something and feeding that thirst for knowledge, right? So go put your phone down, see if you know the answer before you don't look it up on your phone because it's not about that. So All right, we got 4 trivia questions we're gonna ask y'all. All right, so Dr. Anthony, if you could put the first one up. All right, so everybody knows. I'm sorry, a lot of people will remember that Dr. Martin Luther King, he went all around the nation sharing his message on civil rights, right? And so he absolutely spoke in Jacksonville. And not only did he spoke in Jacksonville, he actually spoke a few times. And there was one particular sermon that he gave in Jacksonville at Mount Ararat. And so what year did he give that sermon? What year did he actually preach in Mount Ararat? Was it A, 1959, B, 1961, C, 1963, or D, 1968? So Dr. Anthony, what you think? Put all y'all on the spot.
I know.
I'm gonna go with B.
All right, 1961. Charmaine, what about you?
You know, I don't know the answer to this because you put this together.
Sure did.
Okay, I'll go with C, 1963.
All right. So if there's anybody out there that's watching, if you are watching this, you want to put your answer in the chat, you absolutely can. But the correct answer is B, 1961. Hey. Yes. So it was 1961 where Dr. Martin Luther King actually preached at Mount Ararat Church in Jacksonville. And Charmaine asked earlier, I did not look this up. I don't know if the church still exists.
It does. It does.
It does. Really?
It's in a historic, I think it's off Myrtle. Anybody from Jacksonville, y'all can correct me, but I think it's off Myrtle. And it does still exist. Big old building. Yeah. And
awesome. Mm-hmm. See, I'm being curious. Yeah. I'm being curious. We celebrate curiosity. Yes.
Yeah. Black joy.
All right. So trivia question number 2. All right. Now, this is, I know some of y'all like, what this got, trust me, like this is a really important statistic. Both of us are educators. So, and Dr. Anthony is an educator as well. This is a really fascinating question, right? So what percentage of students attending Duval County Public Schools are Black?
Oof, what is our percentage?
What is the percentage? Is it A, 17%, B, 21%, C, 33%, or D, 44%? Okay, we got some people. Okay, we got some people chiming in with some answers already. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Charmaine, Dr. Anthony, went with you first. Charmaine, which one you think it is?
Yeah, answer this one.
Oh, you know? All right.
I know the answer to this one.
All right, Dr. Anthony, which one you think it is?
I think it's D.
Really? Think it's D?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She said D or B?
She said, did you say B or D?
D, as in dog.
She said D. All right.
Okay.
And you are correct. It is D. It is 44%. Now check this out. A, 17% is Miami-Dade County. So only 17% of students in Miami-Dade County Public School are Black. Mm-hmm. B is Hillsborough County, so the Tampa. So 21% of students in Hillsborough County Public Schools are Black. C is Broward, Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
So again, when you look at these, right, major metropolitan areas, Jacksonville has the highest number of Black students attending public school. Now, just so you all know, for those of you all who may be wondering, the highest percentage overall in the state of Florida is Gadsden County, which is Quincy, and 70% of their students are Black. Now, obviously, we know that's a smaller, more rural area, but 70% of Gadsden County public school students are Black. But Duval is like far away when we talk about metropolitan areas. Mm-hmm. They have the most percentage of Black students for all the major metropolitan areas in Florida.
That's good. And these are actually, I think, the 4 largest school districts in the order that you gave them, if I'm not mistaken, of the state. Wow.
Yep. Okay. Broward is bigger than Hillsborough.
Okay.
So yeah, these are the 4 kind of larger school districts in the state. Yep.
Wow. And we need, and I'm sure they need all the support that they can get, volunteers, resources, everything. Just encouraging our children to know that their education is valuable. Mm-hmm. Your reading literacy is valuable. I didn't like to read growing up.
Yeah,
you know, because not a lot of books had characters that look like me or topics that interest me, and so I'm so thankful that we have stories, moral stories, literacy, books, authors, illustrators that have our scholars can go to the library and see content that's about them, for them, and by them.
Yeah, and speaking of that, part of this too is a reminder for those of you in Duval that your norm is not everybody else's norm. So when you talk about, again, the majority and a lot of students that look like you, that is not the norm for a lot of other places.
That's
So that's the
good.
point of pride. Mhm.
So we are coming up on the end,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I want you all to be able to share how people can get in touch with you if they want your services. How can they contact you? Y'all can look while it be up on YouTube. He's on YouTube. He has been on national slams. I guess they're called slams, but whatever
Yep.
they call, he's been national. Okay. So how can they find you all?
Yes, well, definitely our social media handles are Chosen Life Specialists, but that's our website as well. So chosenlifespecialists.com. I'll put it in our chat area as well. And social media following as well, Chosen Life Specialists. That's our business. And so again, reach out for support. You want a free a 30-minute discovery call for us to just talk to you. Just reach out to us, talk to us. You can call or text at 813-291 2041. You can email us at chosenlifespecialist@gmail as well. We do have 2 books out.
We do have 2 books
Yes,
out,
so let's
yeah.
talk
And
about that.
so yeah, we actually have 2 books. The first one is called Chosen Lifelines 365. This is a daily devotional, and so it's great to have dreams, but you also need a plan. So what this daily devotional allows you to do is to actually begin to organize your life in such a way so that you can really create a plan for the things you want to accomplish and achieve. They're based on the 12 principles of our organization. And so the 12 principles, we actually were able to break those out, each one for every month. And so every day contains a quote, a list of courageous questions, and then a key scripture, and then space for you to actually write down your reflections based on those questions. And then the second book, How the West Was Won, is actually Charmaine and I's relationship story. As we mentioned, poetry and art is one of our is part of our foundation, and so this is our poetry book. There's poems from us, there is narratives from us about our relationship. It talks about everything from love and how we met story, overcoming addictions, and parenting children with special needs, and infidelity, and all of that. So it is the T, as you always say. So if you again are interested in hearing about all of the beautiful and the ugly when it comes to how you make it to 25 years, grab How the West Was Won.
It's so good. So I want to say thank you all for joining us. I really, really enjoyed tonight. And they kind of took it and ran with it. So I didn't have to do as much as I normally have to do. So thank y'all for making it easy because it's been a
I was,
whirlwind of a
I was
weekend.
gonna say you welcome. You welcome. That what you get with us.
And if you all are looking for someone to do spoken word at your next event, please hit them up. As you can see, they are very talented, very special, and they have a heart for this. They have a heart for people, for families. So please, please, please look them up. I want to just share a few things we have going on. We have our college tour, HBCU tour. We have 6 schools in South Carolina and North Carolina, and possibly adding a 7th between in North Carolina. So we'll be doing that next month. We have our service project for this month, which will benefit Wilson Children's Hospital. We are collecting blankets and a few items to give to the children who are being served at Wilson. So if you want to be a part of that, feel free to hit me up to learn how. You can check our social media for the information on how to do that as well. And I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you share this if you like what you heard, and join us next month for all that we have going on as well. And next Sunday, if you have a college student, and maybe Walter, you can have your students. It's called About That College Life. And it's going to be from a college student sharing her experiences of transitioning into college and what that transition is like. And as she's preparing to graduate, she's getting ready to graduate. So from a college student's perspective, we want our kids to know what it's like. You hear from me because I've done it, but it's easier when you hear from someone about your age, like what is, in current context. So students, parents, tune in. Actually, that's going to be private. So it'll be Zoom. So shoot me an email if you want the link. Let me do it that way. And if y'all have any students that y'all want to invite, it is open. I just need to get you the link. That's all. So thank you all. Do y'all have a final word? No. Okay.
Just want to thank you, Dr. Anthony, for the opportunity, and thank you for everything that you're doing to serve the community. We appreciate it, and it's an honor to have been on your show today with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And on that note, y'all have a good evening. We are going to call it a night. Make sure you share this with everybody that you can. It'll be on YouTube in a few minutes. So y'all can share the link. All right. Holla.